Hello, and welcome to the Final Stage podcast. My name is William, and apparently I am an idiot because for months I have been spelling my co-host's name wrong in the video graphic of the podcast, completely unaware of the grave error that I have made because I am ignorant and stupid. And I must apologize.
You're not!
Yes, I am. And I must apologize to my wonderful co-host, Arsenette.
Yes. I didn't even notice that either. Thanks, Rich, from Armchair Ninja Podcast.
Yeah, when I saw that tweet from Rich, and I didn't see it right away. But when I did, there were expletives that were said.
Hey, at least you can now change it with the
It's already been fixed. Everything's fixed.
Yeah. Well, you put the cards, not cards, to thumbnail.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah, so that covers it up quite well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine. Look, for I don't even know how many months, and I didn't even notice it.
Yeah, it's your name.
Yeah, I consider, hey, it's close.
Yeah.
I've heard every possible name given to me, and and I know you weren't doing it in malice, and so I didn't even think of it.
Yeah,
but thank you for correcting it.
I've been secretly trying to bury you to make myself look better. It's been
Dude, it's 9 letters long, and it is an extremely unusual name.
It's my 12-month plan to secretly take over a podcast that I agreed to be on to begin with.
Besides, speaking of 12 months,
having
not 1 year anniversary.
Good. I was about to say.
My thinking was like, hey, 12 is a year, right? It's like, no, you do it afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
So in my mind, I kept thinking sort of like the Y2K going, do you celebrate the millennial at 2000 or 2001? Or 1999. So apparently I'm at the 1999
Because here's the thing. I have criticized many shows that are weekly for celebrating 1 year anniversary on episode 52 instead of 53. If we had celebrated episode 12 as the 1 year anniversary, I would have been a huge hypocrite. So when Arsenette wrote in our little show notes, happy 1 year anniversary, I made sure that was shot down because I am not letting that happen on my watch.
He crossed out, that's next month.
Yes. Wanted to make it perfectly clear. So
I still can't believe we're at 12 though.
I can because I have high optimism.
Yay. Hey, the fact that you've lasted as long as you have with me is a testament to your to your patience.
Well, that's one way to put it. But anyway, so how are you this past month in between recording sessions?
Oi. Well, I'm in fundraising hell right now.
It's the best kind of hell.
It was funny because for the 1 year anniversary next month, I had already been past all that. So I'm in the middle of it, so y'all get to hear me go, oh, because that's how I was last year. But right now I am rocking my spring cold plus ear infection. Yeah, so I'm feeling fantastic right now. So in the last month I've actually I actually bought finally the Final Stage podcast website.
Hey.
Which I had been meaning to do. In fact, I was even meaning to just do a blog and just move all that stuff because it's lost all the time in Rambling Rican. And especially when you were on mobile, you don't see the sidebars at all. So anybody that wanted to know any of that, they would have had to remember like to look during the month. So it's just going to get lost. And besides, it's a whole lot better that it has its own thing. So as of this recording, I have 10 of the 11 up. And I'll put the 11 up like tonight because I'm in like Japan sleep mode again where I'm awake at night and asleep during the day. So yeah, that's how I'm working because I'm sick. But yeah, but by the time the podcast is up, this month's podcast is up, all of it would be on the website and updated. So yay. Yeah, so but yeah, I wanted to get that out and has its own dedicated thing. So if we ever wanted to do anything special, we can actually, throw that out there so then people can actually find it. So, yep, finalstagepodcast.com.
Yep.
And then, let's see, the next thing that State of Sasuke. That actually, I liked it. The first one, of course, I had to screw up because I recorded it on OBS. And I meant to mute my side because I record my voice on Audacity. And I forgot to do that. So we recorded both. And then on top of it, I had Mitsuki's voice too low. So, yeah, what was that? The episode was it 3 or 4?
Episode 3.
Where you had to manually go word by word and figure out when I was blowing your ears out.
Yeah, okay.
So the entire time I'm sitting there going, I'm so sorry, William.
So basically, for those who don't remember, episode 3, which is our most popular episode because it is the Sasuke 31 review episode, I screwed up my audio pretty badly. And I had to basically, and because this was before we edited separate, we recorded separate audio tracks, I had to go into the one audio track and do my best to amplify my voice anytime I talk. Problem is, if you've listened to the show in the past, you might realize that typically when Arsenette talks, I generally don't say a lot, but when I talk, she will say a lot of things like and stuff like that, and yep. And it's always conveniently at the beginning of my next sentence. And after...
I've picked up a really bad habit.
Yeah.
And I think because I listen to a lot of Japanese. And one of the things culturally that they do that I have noticed is that to give assurance to someone that they are actually listening, they'll go, hi, and do that. And I've inadvertently picked that up, which is the worst thing you can do in a podcast. It's like, shut up!
Yeah, so basically by the time I was done, 10 hours later editing the show, I had grown to hate you.
Thank you.
It was my fault, so it made it even maybe hate you even more for no good reason.
No, but you actually did. No, you hated me because I didn't realize how bad it was, first of all. So I admit on that. And then you came back, I think it was like 2 hours in, and you sent me a message. Can we re-record a podcast?
Yeah.
And that was close to 3 hours. I'm going, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
And then you're like... all right. That's literally because the way you send messages are like 1 or 2 answers, 2 words.
Yeah, I don't.
That's it. So I can't you're like, okay, yeah. I'm like, so I can't tell if that's a fine or you know what I mean. Like I couldn't tell any of this. All of a sudden later on when I listened to it, I'm like, oh god. I didn't realize how bad it was. And so so that's what happened with Mitsuki's, and hopefully it's okay. And then the next one after that, having that experience, I did the one for Rachel and June. And so that one I did video. So I had like two firsts on the same time. So I'm like, okay, I need to learn how to record on OBS on like full screen and all this extra stuff. And but I liked it. It was interesting because, especially from June's perspective, he has only known a world with Sasuke.
Right.
In fact, and it was funny because for as many times that I complain about people saying Sasuke, I said Banzuke, which is just as bad because he goes Bansuke. I'm like, that is Bansuke, not Banzuke. Sasuke Nico Bansuke.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, I never noticed how much I absolutely destroy that word.
If there's anything that I've learned recently is that when you're looking at the Romanji spellings of Japanese names, typically U's are silent.
U's in the middle of a word.
Yeah. Yeah, I learned that because there's a couple of Japanese wrestlers in WWE now, and you can always tell, and it's obvious when people are pronouncing their names wrong because they pronounce the U's in their name. And like,
Yeah.
it's now bothering me.
Daisuke is a number one. Yeah.
Because like there's
Daisuke, Shunsuke.
like there's a wrestler named Asuka, and people are and sometimes you'll hear people saying Asuka or Asuka
Or Azuka.
Yeah, I'm like,
Azuka.
Stop
But
that.
it was funny. It was like all of a sudden, like I'm not sure if you can see in the video, my eyes got big. He pronounced it Bansuke.
Bansuke.
Bansuke. And so like, but it was actually really cool because I have never met an English speaker that his English is fantastic. That's self-taught, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
And yeah, that's self-taught. Like, just wow. But I've never met anybody that has gone that far back. And then, so he was like, he was trying to remember. It was like, was I like in high school, grade school? And then I told him that it started in 1997. He's your age.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in mid-20s.
Huh.
Midish 20s? Yeah, I think so. And they're like, oh, yeah, I was a kid. So in other words, he was a whole lot younger than he thought he was. So it was just really funny, but it was wow. And the funny thing was the only person that he really remembered by name, because again, he just watches it. I would assume it'd be the same how I watch Takeshi's Castle. I can't tell you a single competitor from that show because I'm there to watch the laughs.
Right.
But Sasuke's a little bit different.
Right.
So the only one that he remembered was Yamada, only because he was half naked at the time. And it was like, yeah, isn't he always like half naked? It's like, yeah, he's always topless, and then he's like starts laughing, and then it's like, does he have the obstacle still? And then that really like, oh, that's pretty sad. It's like, yeah, he's at 20 years at this point. Well, not 20 years, but very close to. We're 19 years this year. Yeah. Yeah. That's 17, 18 years he's had that in his front lawn. So, but it was just a very interesting set of interviews between, talking to Mitsuki and then talking to Rachel and June. It was like so many different ideas and perspectives because I wanted to go more in that direction. I'm going to see if I can try to get some more interviews because I'm always interested in everybody else's journey through the exact same thing.
Right.
And that it isn't always, hey, this is all obstacles. At the same time, I could run into somebody that is all about obstacles. So it's just, I just want more conversation to bring Sasuke back to life.
Hey.
So yeah, and then speaking of Sasuke, the again, like I mentioned at the top of the show, the fundraiser hell, yeah. I hate asking people for money, but I think at this point everybody knows it's like if I can't do this by myself, and so either way, that's how it's working. As of this particular recording, I have 14 days left. I think it was like 15, 14, 13, 2 weeks left. So I have 2 weeks left and I am under 50. I think I'm in the 20 something percent at this point. But yeah, I am hoping it goes higher for a lot of different reasons. I'm not getting as much airfare as I thought I was going to. Because remember, part of that was supposed to help pay for that. So right now it's sort of, I'm gonna wait the 2 weeks before I freak out. In the meantime, I've gotten a lot of support because remember, I think I told you last year that they were a little, the word is not weirded out, but they were utterly confused about the concept of fundraising. And so whenever I asked, hey, would you, sign autographs for this fundraiser? People will be sending me money, but this is to pay for airfare and hotel, yada, yada, yada. And I had like the glassed eyes, like, what are you talking about? And then I had to go through this whole discussion on what a fundraiser is and what it looks like and what the photos look like and whatever. That doesn't exist anymore because I showed it to them. And they saw it and they thought that was absolutely fabulous. In fact, Yuji thought that I should sell my book. It's like, how much did that cost you? And it's like, about $20. Actually, it's actually closer to 30, but still. It's about, about $20, $30. And he goes, oh, I thought there'd be a lot more. I'd buy that. Like, really? Yeah, they don't have that here. Are you crazy? He kept the book for like 20 minutes and stared at it off in a little corner with him and Rio. It was hilarious. I'm like, it's a book. And then I showed him the pictures. And the pictures, he thought he was a rock star. It was just the most hilarious thing. Because it's like, nobody has photos of themselves. Because usually when they do autographs, they have sort of like an 8x10 piece of paper, like cardstock, I guess is the word. And they sign their name big to fill it. And I think you've seen some of those like on walls, especially in Morimoto's house.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
That's what the normal autograph is. You have a sheet of paper, they take the sheet of paper, sign their name in kanji that takes the entire thing. It looks more like calligraphy. So the idea that there's a photo, they're like, oh, what's that? I can't believe it. It was like, excuse me. It was interesting. So all of a sudden, everybody wanted photos of themselves. So this year, I started asking around, and I was asking more of like the people that people would know. So those were the harder ones, people like the All-Stars, the Champions, that sort of thing.
Right.
And so I had the 3 from last year, which were Morimoto, Tomo Kawaguchi, and Shinya Kishimoto. Most people probably won't know who Shinya is. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to need a little bit more because I was thinking, maybe because there's a lot of newer people and they don't know who these people are. And then so I'm like, all right, on a whim, I'm going to see if I can try to get the All-Stars. And they immediately jumped on. I'm like, really? And then we finally got Yuji. He was the last of the ones that I had added. And I'm like, yay, I got 3 or 4 of the champions there. So I'm slowly but surely, in fact, my Shutterfly pack came in of some of the photos because there was a sale. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to grab these because I'm looking at how much I'm raising so far, and I'm like, I'm still gonna have to make this happen. So yeah, any sales, I'm gonna grab as many sales as I can, and at worst I have a whole bunch of photos. So that's how I have this set up. So let's see how it works out, and hopefully a miracle can happen in the next 2 weeks. Yeah, just the economy's bad this year, and I've had a lot of people tell me that, even some people that had contributed last year and are nowhere to be found this year. It's just like the economy sucks. They don't either they don't have a job or they don't have what they used to before. It's just, and it's not that the price, because I had it originally a little higher. Some of the t-shirts and stuff like that
right.
Were a little higher, simply because I can't get that many. The disaster from last year, me trying to get those t-shirts, that was rough. So I limited the amount and I put it high in the beginning, and then so I brought it back down to 2015 levels. So I have it back down to where it was, where last year that was the first thing that sold out.
Right.
In fact, I had to add more because there were so many people going, oh my god, I want those t-shirts. And this year, up to this point, you're the only one that's gotten it. I think Venus got another one. I haven't figured out if he got a perk or not, but I know Venus wanted another one as well. So that's 2 of 8, 2 of 10, so 8 are still left. And I'm a little surprised by that. I'm actually a lot surprised by that, especially since the size that I get is usually the first thing that sells out. That usually never hits the store. They sell out whatever physical inventory, and then whatever's left they throw in the store, and they're usually gone.
Right.
So, but that was my month. So the majority of it is reassessing what I'm going to be doing past this run fundraiser, because the 2 things that I've been telling you that I have working in the background that I still haven't announced, and at this point I won't announce, until I know I can get it paid for is gonna depend on the success of this fundraiser, because if I can't raise money, there's no point in bringing the other two.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's the same pool of people. So if there's no interest on something like that, I can't possibly bring something that has a much higher budget. You know what I mean? It's like we're talking a much higher budget for the other two. And so I we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. I just, yeah. That's where I am right now. So that's been my month. So it's been a little hairy. So hopefully you have better news than I do.
Oh yeah. So my month. I actually had a very eventful and busy month that was capped off this past weekend by the visual of Shaquille O'Neal wrestling a match and 3 wrestlers coming out of a giant cereal box dressed up as Saiyans from Dragon Ball Z.
Yes, I saw your Twitter feed.
Okay.
I didn't have to watch it.
Yeah. That was a thing that happened. And yeah, so did you see the part where Team 4-Star got on TV as a result?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, so the guys come out dressed up as Dragon Ball Z characters, and they cut to a Dragon Ball sign in the crowd. That was Team 4-Star. Mm-hmm. So.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Is that what, WrestleMania?
Yeah, WrestleMania 32 this past Sunday.
Yeah, I saw all the tweets. It was like I turned on and checked my Twitter, and I'm like, oh God, it is. Oh yeah, this is gonna happen. And I left it alone for like an hour, and I came back. Yeah, 115 tweets. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Because apparently everybody in my Twitter feed are wrestling fans. So between that and the Nova game, basketball.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the area. That's a Philly area school.
Yeah. So.
I grew up with Nova in my backyard, so everybody and their mothers having coronary.
So your timeline was just filled with stuff.
Sports.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm like, I don't mind. Because like, I'm sure, when Sasuke comes around, I just vomit tweets.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, it's all good. I'm happy they're happy about something.
It was so bizarre because, like, no one even knew Shaquille O'Neal was coming out. They were having
that's a surprise.
But they were having a battle royal, and all of a sudden, like, they announced, oh, hey, the final competitor is Shaquille O'Neal. And you're just like, wait, what?
Like, what?
Also,
so that was what, yesterday? And no, that
Sunday.
was today, day before.
Sunday.
Days are mixing.
Sunday. Yeah, so that happened.
Sunday.
Also, earlier in the month, my birthday present from my parents was tickets to go see the musical Kinky Boots on Broadway.
Okay.
And the reason I went to go see that particular musical is because it was starring Wayne Brady.
Oh, that's how you met him. Cool. Yeah.
Spoilers. So yeah, after the show, my dad was able to pull a few strings, and we got to meet him backstage.
You have like the best parents ever, because my parents never did anything like that.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. So,
that's actually so if you ever complain about them, I'll shoot you.
I will never complain about them to you.
I guess everybody complains about their parents. Yeah. You have really awesome parents. So
no, they're great. They really are. Wayne Brady, super nice guy. So I'm not going to go through the whole plot, but basically he plays a drag queen in the show, and so he's a good-looking woman apparently. I came to learn. But yeah, it's a funny show. If you're ever interested in seeking it out, go watch it. Although it's definitely for a more mature audience, given some of the contents of the show. Although
most of the shows that you watch are like that.
Oh yeah. But just to give you everyone a heads up, if you're planning on going to see Wayne Brady, don't bother. He just finished his tenure there. So we actually caught him right at the end of his run. So that so that worked out nicely.
That happens in where they have, you know,
Yeah. Actually,
certain actors in certain parts.
Yeah. Well, actually, he revealed to us why he had to leave the show. He actually has to get shoulder surgery.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there you go. But anyway, yeah. Wayne Brady, super nice dude. And a good-looking woman. But also, I got a bunch of videos up on 222 Productions this past month.
I have to take the time to say that was absolutely, totally, and completely fantabulous. I mean, that was awesome. Because most people, just, like, especially like me, would just like, okay, let's throw the videos up there. Dude, you freaking did a production!
Look, I don't do things halfway most of the time.
No, you do not.
And
no, especially with something like that. It was basically the grown-up version of Mercury Laboratories.
Yeah. That's well. I mean, it's the same clock too, because you know, I'm not going to redesign that clock. That takes forever to do. I'm going to reuse.
That was awesome, though.
I'm going to reuse that thing. So yeah. So so if you want to watch the National Ninja League,
the whole thing,
literally every single run is up. You got titles for each person, so you can tell their names, with one exception that I'll get to, and you got the clock on the screen, so you know exactly how much time is left, or in the case of the final stage, how much time has passed.
The standings.
Yes, you get the standings, and
in the final
rankings for both genders.
And the other thing is, in the third and final stage, you had it. You know, X person has to get. Yes. To that person, like the timer. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
The time to beat. That was awesome because, you know, not a lot of people were able to see that. And, you know, I mean, you got to see some of it on Twitch when Twitch was there, but you don't get the full. It was fabulous.
I wanted people to have as full of an experience as I could give them.
Next year, see if we can try to get you a monopod.
Yeah, we'll see. We gotta
save your arm, because I know your arm must have been burning.
Yeah, the arm was. Yeah, you know, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's funny how the editing process can be sometimes. I used to absolutely hate editing videos, which might explain why I have a tendency for not being on time. But I actually really enjoyed editing this stuff. I just basically spent a total of like 9 days editing. If I wasn't working, eating, sleeping, or like doing stuff with the family, I was editing the videos. And there comes a point where you get to the very end and you think you're done, and then you realize, oh, there's a few errors I gotta fix. You know, like I spelled Drew's name wrong. Oh dear. And that's the point where you start to hate it again, because it's like you gotta re-render the videos, and it takes like an hour to render each video, or longer, or 2 hours even. And it's like you start repeating yourself essentially, and then you start to hate it again. And so by the time I was done with it all, I'm just like, I don't want to do anything else related to videos the rest of this month.
I tell you one thing though, considering the sheer amount of volume that you did, 9 days was fast.
Yeah, I guess you.
Yeah,
guess you
9 days
that.
was fast. It was. I mean, how many hours was that?
I don't.
I think the timeline, like the
It's hard to. It's hard to.
No. When you see the list, the playlist, it actually adds all the minutes.
Yeah, no, I have
all the interviews.
Okay, yeah, I don't know about that part. The playlist is a little skewed because I put the podcast in there too, so it's slightly off. But the main show is 4 hours, 40 minutes, and 33 seconds, I believe.
Wow. And that's just pure runs.
Yeah, and actually,
no filler.
In fact, the edit, there's a lot of filler edited out because you don't want to see that stuff. So it's funny because the Armchair Ninja podcast talked about at least some of the first episodes of because it's split. Because just for those who haven't seen, it's split into 8 parts. Stage 1 is split into 6 parts, and then you have stage 2 and final stage as separate parts. There's one person whose name I did not have. I had her last name. I didn't, because I started recording after Chris started the intro, like a dummy.
Ooh, yeah.
And she's not in the program for the show, because I had the competitor list. She's not on it. So there's a few who were like last minute additions in the early heats. And
gotcha.
I was basically kind of like, man, I hope no one notices. And then I go listen to Armchair Ninja podcast. They call it out right away. I was like, oh, god damn.
I'll tell you one thing, though, at least they're just as interested in that information, and considering that after that happened, nothing went up on the National Ninja website other than, the top, and then that's it. And then all of a sudden everybody just like GTFO'd.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I don't think Chris made a final video, so I don't know.
No, Chris went to the West Coast to decompress, because that was like 2 months out of his life, like straight 2 months out of his life, and then like a year to 2 years setting this thing up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah. So so that's all up, and all the interviews are up. And I put up a video of just all the raw footage of like the obstacles and stuff, because why not? Mm-hmm. And I also put up that video I talked about of me jumping on the trampoline. That's there too. It's all there. Just go watch it all.
No, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I'm excited because again, so many people don't have that opportunity to see that, and that was like that's it showing it into itself. Now, could you imagine if he actually had, better equipment and set up to do that from the beginning? That's gonna look phenomenal.
Yeah. There's a few notes I want to just let people know about and stuff. So here's the thing. All right. So this is just a message to anyone who runs a gym and wants to record stuff from their gym and put it on YouTube.
Take out the music.
No, well, more specifically, do not use music by Universal Music Group. Because basically the first 6 episodes got Content ID matched. I don't know how the other 2 got away with 0 matches, but I'm not complaining. Now, for the first 5... Yeah, look, I'm not... Let's not chance it. So, the first 5 have gotten blocked in Germany, so apologies to any Germans out there. And also, they can't be played on... Basically, to my understanding, any device that's not a PC. That's the description that was given to me. So, like, you can't play it on your phone or anything, unless YouTube's just wrong about that. I don't know. So yeah, and it's only the and when you get a Content ID match, it tells you who, like, what company is flagging it, and what the song is, and where it is, and what the restrictions are on the video. And all the Content ID matches are correct. None of them are false or anything like that. But it's only the ones from Universal Music Group that are putting the viewing restrictions on it. So if you want people to be able to watch the videos, don't use anything by Universal Music Group, for the love of God.
In general, I wish they didn't have any of that at all, because after a while, it really starts burrowing into your brain.
Well, yeah, I was with the kid who was doing the playlist. He acknowledged that the playlist that he was given was limited, and I think towards the end of the first day, he basically, I think he like switched to Spotify or something like that, and then for the second day, he got a new playlist. But yeah, that was a thing. It was a bit repetitive if you listen to the whole thing, and I listened to the whole thing.
Why didn't they just like not put it in between runs or something?
I don't know. Ask Chris. Because you know what I think the thing is, I don't think they were, they weren't thinking about like the videos. They were just thinking about like
Yeah, because
show.
all that stuff is copyrighted, so it's just like it makes it impossible.
Yeah.
And it's also again, and this is my age showing, is just when it's that loud, it literally starts burrowing into your brain. I felt bad for you. You were right next to the freaking speaker.
Yeah.
So you had concert ear at the end of that.
It wasn't that bad. I think I was too
tired. Dude, I had concert eared walking up to you at one point. It's like, oh, you were here for... Oh, I am so sorry. Yeah. Though I was in the oven upstairs because heat rises.
Yeah.
But that's an entire... We've already talked about that last one.
Yeah, let's not. Also, so I was looking at some of the analytics for the videos. And
okay.
Yeah. And YouTube, they gave you pretty comprehensive analytics. And I was trying to see, like, what are people searching for to look at the videos?
Mm-hmm.
So I got some statistics. So according to YouTube analytics, now keep in mind, this is not necessarily indicative of, the entirety in terms of like who's the most popular at A&W, because it's a relatively small sample of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So according to YouTube, the most popular competitors that are at least the most searched for competitors of the people who were there, because obviously Casey Cat and Zara is not going to come up with those videos, are Joe Morosky, Drew Dressel, Jeff Britton, and Travis Rosen.
Mm-hmm.
They were the most searched. Like, just kind of looking at the videos, they seem to be the most searched people.
That makes sense.
With Joe Morosky very clearly being at the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I just thought that was interesting. So apparently the lesson is I should just make more videos about Joe Morosky if I want more views.
No, but that's actually really cool because you were the one that taught me how to analyze the analytics.
Yeah.
Because half the time I'm starting like, there's a
lot of
here.
Stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
You can do a class on it. Because sometimes it's too much information and I'm not sure what I'm staring at.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, that's actually really cool. And also at the same time, I'm happy again that people had the opportunity to see that, because part of the fun of seeing these types of like ninja competitions is being able to share it with everybody else outside of the people that were actually there.
Right.
It's just like, oh man, I wish I could have seen that. Or that's also advertisement going, you should have been there. That was a freaking awesome competition.
Yeah, it was really
good.
You know
what I mean? I had a lot of fun. And so especially with how well Chris ran it, I mean, that was a well-oiled machine.
Very well
oiled. I was very, very happy about that. So it sucks it's going to be the West Coast because unless a miracle happens, I'm not going to be there next year.
Yeah, and I'm just going to be realistic. Like if it was right now, I wouldn't be able to go. So, maybe next year, I don't know. Can't make any promises. Just going to be upfront with that. So we'll have to see.
Either way, we both had a lot of fun, and you did fantastic on those videos. I mean, I can't say it enough. That was, I turned it. I watch it in general just so I can see I like the content that you produce. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my god, I'm thinking in my head, ooh, great, has the names. Oh my god, it has a timer. Wow, you did the standings. Oh, you incorporated the standings from the first group with the second group, and this is awesome because that's exactly what people want to see. It was like, where are we now? Oh, okay, there are 5 clears. Okay. So the other group, and that's the kind of things that when you see a competition, you want to see all that incorporated, and you did it for them.
Yeah.
And it was cute how you did it with where here are these people, and then this is how they line up, and then you kind of like gridded them together where they fit, and then moved the things around going, and then highlighted, this was that group, that was this group, and this is what the top 10 looks like now. Yeah.
I just like the thing is, whenever I make videos, I always make them how I would want to watch them, and that's how I want to watch them. Yeah. Although it's funny, I did see a few comments, including on the Armchair Ninja podcast. They commented on how they would have liked it if there was commentary. To be honest, I honestly thought Alex was going to pick up more on my camera because I was like right next to him. That didn't happen for most of the time. So unfortunately, that didn't happen. And there was a point in time where I honestly considered putting commentary in myself, but but there's almost 200 runs, and quite frankly, if I decided to do commentary, these videos would not be out yet.
Yeah. The other thing that could possibly happen, would be if something like that were to happen, you would edit all the stuff in, and then do post-production. Because they'll be totally post-production. It'll be a whole lot easier.
That's what I was referring to, and it's just that whenever I did Mercury Laboratories or anything like that, that's always the part that takes the longest, because I am not the best with commentary, and I kind of I try to do my best to and I will redo stuff, and so it's kind of like there's nearly 200 runs, like, and it's almost 5 hours in length. That's gonna take me forever.
That's also why they get paid the big bucks.
I thought it was
stuck with your streams.
Yeah, I stuck. I basically I was fine without the commentary personally, probably because I lived pretty much the entire time there
twice.
Yeah, so
you had to see the whole thing twice.
But speaking of those videos and analytics and all that stuff, I have a bit of a happy news for myself personally. So, I mentioned in the past that I've been trying to improve with my videos for this year and get better, increase my viewership. And I'm happy to announce that after 6 years, I finally beat my record for best month ever for viewership.
Yay! Probably by a lot.
By 50%.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for checking out. And also, like you might remember, I said that I wanted 2016 to be the best year ever. It's only the beginning of it's only the beginning of April, and I'm already halfway there. This has been a really good start so far for me personally.
Yay!
So
I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Well, you did a lot of hard work, and I'm happy that people are enjoying it.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching. And I'm going to let's see if April can beat March. That'd be nice.
Yay!
It's like my fifth month. It's like my fourth or fifth month in a row of just like constant growth. So I would like to keep that going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you did a fantastic job. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. And again, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's fun. So anyway, let's get to some other news.
Yep. Yeah, the back to Sasuke news, we are at the just about on top of the deadline. In fact, that's what, Friday?
That would be the
April
day
8th?
This goes out, so.
Okay, so yeah, by the time this comes out, the application for Sasuke 32 would be closed.
Right.
And I would assume very shortly after that, if I'm going by history, how it's happened before, very shortly after that, what usually happens is anywhere between 1 or 2 weeks, varied. Inui has to sit down and go through all of the applications one by one. Last time it took him 12 hours straight. And he'll go through and separate Osaka and Tokyo area, and then go through each of those piles and pick, I forget how many he chose from each of them. It's anywhere between like 100 120 people on each, and the call outs would be, and then of course if you didn't get a call out, then nothing. They don't have the thank you, right? Nope. They just like the only people that you would hear are the ones that have the calls for the auditions. Osaka first, then Tokyo, and then after that, at that point we should have a pretty good idea of when Sasuke is going to tape. So the only difference with this year with Inui is that right now, this second, he is in Vietnam. And so he did the majority of his list. Like, he chose the majority of Osaka's list with some opening because the application had not been closed up to this point. And then he's leaving the rest of it for his producer. So the producer is going to be the one picking the rest of Osaka, and I think he's just doing that and Tokyo. I'm not sure. He might give it another because he'll be back by the time he has to think of Tokyo, because I believe they're separated by at least a week. 1 year they had it 2 weeks apart, but I think that was unusual. Most of the time is a week apart, but well, I don't know. We'll see how this year goes. But either way, we're just about on top of what I call the official Sasuke season. Because at that point he'll start getting messages like, "Oh, I'm going," and whatever. So I'm looking forward to that. The Nico Nico for this month. Actually, I don't even remember it much, because it was a lot of banter. There was only 3 people there. They tried something different where they ran it in Nico Nico, and they actually ran a Google Plus one on a separate computer. And the Google Plus one, the Google Hangout, was a lot more stable and actually prettier. And because I know they're having problems with the Nico Nico architecture. It's just nobody likes it. So they were testing it out to see which one is better. The only difference, of course, is how people can communicate. There's still more of an audience in Nico Nico for the chat. So they'll read mostly the chat there, and then like nobody was speaking on the Google one, although they were looking at that. And so we spent the entire time telling them through the Google chat or actually the Nico Nico chat, that the Nico Nico was frozen. So they had to like stop that, and then all of a sudden he looks over and he goes, "Seriously, the Google's still..." So it's like, it's not our computer, something's just up. So yeah, so that was basically the month. They were talking a lot about obstacles. Their budget got slashed again. So based on that information, it's not going to be a complete renewal as much as we want, because he can't replace all of it, because all of that costs money. So he's going to have to do with it. And I think I've mentioned this before. Sasuke wasn't supposed to be this early this year.
Right.
Because, again, the Olympics is screwing everything over. And they're also trying to fit in the World Cup that was announced last year.
Yeah.
And so originally it was supposed to be World Cup first and then Sasuke. And I think this was thrown backwards when they realized that they can't get... There's a lot more moving pieces in the world, because you're now dealing with other countries and they have their own demands and concessions, etc., etc. So it takes a lot more to get that ironed out. So they just said, okay, fine, we'll throw that sometime after the Olympics. So there's a space before. Sasuke, you're up. And they're like, oh crap, now we're gonna do all this now. And so that's what ended up happening. And only problem is, they lost half their budget when they did that, because yay, economy. So there was on the boards, everybody's complaining about that. And I was like, oh, I hate TBS and whatever. So look, I have TBS for many, many things, but I can't blame them for the economy. I mean, Japan's economy is in a free fall right now. So there's like saying there are bigger issues going on in the world right now than some niche show out in the half of the other, halfway across the world from us. There's a lot of problems going on with the economy. TBS internally has their own issues. We've been discussing this for years. They've lost most of their sponsors, so it's just... The money's not there anymore, and unlike M9, where they would just basically, go through money like they would water, which is the reason why that they folded. TBS won't do that, so they'll go with whatever tried and true method that worked in 1960, but they'll do it that way because they know it'll work, at the detriment of other things. So I can't theoretically fault them for what they're doing. I mean, I still... But that was basically it. So it was a lot of obstacle competition stuff, like, all right, if that were up, what would you do with this? Nah, I don't like that idea. Oh, try this. Oh, we did try that and actually didn't work out. And so for somebody that, again, the last 2, I think, were like that, were all obstacle stuff. And, the poor souls that have to try to translate this, they're sitting there going, this is boring stuff. I'm sorry, I can't translate all that. And quite frankly, I can't blame them. And, the typical questions on whether or not the Americans are coming in, he doesn't have that answer. He's not the one that makes that decision. He makes a decision on the Japanese applications, and then all of that is sent back to TBS, and it's ultimately TBS's idea because it's still their show. Inoui's a hired contractor. He's doing a job that he's paid to do. And, he has a lot of passion for it, whatever, but he doesn't have as much control as you think he does. He has a lot, but not on the areas that you would think he would. So, it's sort of like reserve the pitchforks. They're not needed yet. We can deal with how a lot of this stuff is edited later, but, that's where we are right now with Sasuke 32. So we're in the middle of it, and nothing has been announced yet in terms of dates for Osaka and Tokyo, but they should be coming shortly. So by the time the next podcast is up, we would already be talking about that.
Yeah, that's good. So speaking of Sasuke on television, Challenge TV has started airing, or it did air, Ninja Warrior for featuring Sasuke's 28, 29, and 30 on television.
Yes, there are a lot of surprises with that. First of all, I loved their trailer. For those who follow me on Twitter, I just ripped that sucker and threw it on there. Took me a bit. That was so embedded in their website. That was like as much internet foo as I can do. It took me a while to get that link to get it, because I wanted to save that. It was very well produced. The delivery was interesting. They got only up to 30, so it was a little surprising, but at the same time, that's pretty good. It's the first time anybody's bought any of that, so I'm happy. I haven't seen it because unlike other regions, nobody recorded it?
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
What do you mean nobody recorded it? Like, dude, guys, you had one job and you couldn't do that. So I am literally going by the word of mouth of the people that saw it. So from what I understand, it is edited in 30 minutes. It is dubbed over, which is not my preference, but whatever.
It's consistent with what the UK has done in the past.
Exactly. It fits with the format that they've had already, so it's not going to look out of place, except for several key things. They kept some of the original music.
Interesting.
That's exactly. I'm like, really? In fact, the people that I got reports from, they're all from SMF, and thank you, all of you that you did. I'm not staring at the thread, so I can't tell exactly who the ones that actually did it. The interesting thing that they did was, in the beginning, they tried keeping like the old Ninja Warrior format, where I believe they have the same opening and closing, so they have like the same setup.
Right.
And all they did, I believe they only got the Sasuke edit, as opposed to what G4 got, which was the raw. Because that changes everything, because if somebody gives you the raw format, you're going to do things quite differently, and you don't have that music as a benefit. So there were points where, especially for 28, because for people that don't remember 28, that was the first tournament after Monster 9. It had been about a year and a half since
Sasuke Rising.
Saw so before anybody saw 27, and so that was when they were going to force retire all the All-Stars. In fact, the only one that actually stayed permanently retired from there was Akiyama, and ultimately Yamada, because Yamada then never came back from that.
That's true.
Yeah, because he was edited out of 30.
Spoilers.
But for every... Yeah. It doesn't matter. Nobody saw him anyway. But for all intents and purposes, 2 of the All-Stars were permanently retired there. And so there was this... You remember they had the entire show surrounded that. So you had all of these fluff pieces. They kept all that in there. In fact, there was a point where they said there was no difference between you two. So they remember that it was almost 2 full minutes where they had the music from Batman. where they had Dark Knight Rises, where they had the background of the All-Stars and how they started and all of this stuff, which was very well edited. I love that thing. They kept that. And then when they came back, they put music. And then, now, granted, I think they moved Naganos to like the 4th episode, which was dragging that first stage, because that first stage was not as long.
No.
But they did that, and then all of a sudden at the end, it's sort of like, okay, thank you for watching. And they go, wait, okay, well, that's right. It is almost a G4 edit. So if nothing else, that was consistent too.
Well. Also, you got to remember, in that particular season of Sasuke, when Nagano lost, they just went straight to stage 2. He didn't even get an interview that season.
I know.
So it's not like they had that to work with or anything.
No, it was just the idea that they put him all the way in the 4th episode, when they could have put him a lot earlier.
They could have.
So I think there were 6 episodes total. So that was they crammed or it might have been 5. I'm trying to remember. Again, I'm going by memory of what was written, so I haven't actually physically seen it. And they did it over 3 or 4 nights. I think it was like under a week. They had them all out, which was a little odd. The first night, I think they had it for 2 hours. So that's 4 episodes right there.
Yeah, that would have been 4 episodes.
Yeah, so it was, either way, it was a little weird how they did it. Sort of like, okay, here we are, marathon, 3 episodes, 3 tournaments, 1, 2, 3, there we go, boom. And it was a little surprising, and you would think that they would stretch it out more, but again, this is challenge, and they do weird things over there. But ultimately, what I like out of all of that is that there will be some sort of edit that anybody can buy of the Ninja Warrior variety around the world.
Right.
I doubt the US is going to pick it up, but yeah, whatever. At this point, I've given up. I've given up. I just totally given up on the US.
Would it be possible for a different company not connected to NBC Universal to get the rights to 28, 29, and 30?
I would assume if the money is right, anything is possible. Considering that Comcast is no longer the official distributor of Sasuke domestically.
Right.
They haven't been for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned that before, and it's like, and if they still are and they haven't aired it, they're breach of contract. It's like, we're missing 4 full episodes here. 4 full tournaments, going on a 5th right now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, they don't have a locked contract on that because they edited that out. So there is no official broadcaster here in the United States.
Right.
So
okay.
if somebody else they should be able to pick it up.
That'd be interesting.
And NBC better. Well, think of it this way: Challenge has the original Ninja Warrior. That is a Sky channel. Ninja Warrior UK is on ITV. Completely different channel. So it can happen.
Yeah.
And considering that they're 2 different shows and the limited availability of being on both shows, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's just like it shouldn't matter, and Lord knows NBC's pounded over our heads that they're totally different shows, so it really shouldn't be any issue if somebody else picked this up. But again, has to do with money.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
So, speaking of other versions of Sasuke.
Yes.
So, I got the list in front of me.
Yeah.
So, Sasuke Vietnam has officially announced that they are going to have international competitors from countries around the world. I got the full list right here. I am going to read them off. So, let's get everyone who's not American out of the way first, since those are the ones people are going to know. From China, we have Okay. I apologize in advance for name pronunciation. Dao Qi and Fang Bin. They both competed in X Warrior. I know this because their photos are clearly from X Warrior.
He tried doing that, by the way.
Yeah. We have a handful of Taiwanese competitors, including Chang Yiming, Qin Feng Liu, Chumin Yang, Lao Longzun, and Li Yanqi.
Yay!
Which, by the way, I'm looking at this list. I'm pretty sure this is a new way to spell Li Yanqi amongst the 10,000
It's an old one.
Okay.
That was one of the original ways that they did that. From what I understand, it's actually ZHI.
Yeah, well, that's not how they spelled it.
Yeah, it's fine. And that was Perry that put the list together. Major props to Perry, though, because he managed to basically harangue them. Because this was supposed to be... Well, you finish off the list, and I'll explain the whole situation with how this list came to be.
So, from the Netherlands, Perry Oosterley.
Yeah.
That made it easy. From Singapore, we have Alvin Tan CK. From Malaysia, we have Matt Redho. From the United Kingdom, we have Dion Trigg. From Japan, we have Hiroshi Miyamoto, Naoki Araki, Satoru Kishida, Seren Murayama, Soichi Takinawa, and Shuta Nishimura.
Yay! Good job.
Actually,
I could have done them for you, but good job.
And finally, from the United States, we actually have quite a few people from the United States competing in this. We have Alex Crumlin, which I don't know if you remember, he was at the National Ninja League. He's the one with the suspenders. We have Brett Sims. We have Brian Kretsch, Brian Wilczewski, Chris Wilczewski, David Campbell, Felix Chu, Greg Schwartz, Grace Jones, Michael Bernardo, and Rico Rivera.
Yay.
So quite a few Americans showing up. Apparently, Vietnam is willing to accept David Campbell onto their show, but A&W is not.
That's his own story.
Yeah.
We decided we weren't going to talk about A&W. Remember that?
That was awful. Long story short, David's on the walk-on line. No one knows why, so that's bizarre. So yeah, that's the list. That is a quite that's a healthy list of international competitors right there.
Yep. Now the story behind it is sort of complicated, but I'll try to simplify it. let me sum up. The event itself is going to take about 3 weeks because it's something like 12 to 1,500 people are going to be competing. I mean,
that's a lot of people.
Yeah, I believe though they're gonna have like some sort of like elimination stuff. I'm not sure how that works out because there's all kinds of stuff that's going on with the Vietnamese specifically. Last year they also had a lot. I just didn't remember it being this big. And a few, I think I said it last month, definitely, and possibly the month before that. Though I think it was just last month, where they were doing international at all. What they wanted to try to do was sort of like all of these people will narrow themselves down to a world team. And I believe is only 5.
Oh.
I'm trying to remember. But they're all going to be competing in the individual. And then based on their results, they're going to build the world team to have a friendly competition with the Vietnamese that survived from their first round. So how they're doing this is it's like 3 to 4 days of the first stage, and then those who clear that first stage will be put into the 2 teams, and then they'll have the world event, and then go back to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th stages. Yeah, I was just as confused, but the whole thing's gonna last from like today actually is the first day, if I'm not mistaken. Is today April 5th?
Today is April 5th.
Yeah, starts today.
Oh.
And either today or tomorrow. And then this team, thanks Perry, he managed to get it to move all of the internationals, because they're coming in from all over the world here.
Yeah.
And to expect them to have 3 weeks of vacation in the middle of April, God bless you to try to do that. So what they did is they took it to the last possible day, which was April 11th.
Okay.
So all of these people are competing on April 11th.
Also,
they still have to do just as the Vietnamese, but I'm happy at least it gave them the opportunity to have them all in one day. So when they're coming from different parts, and at the same time, this is after the LA trials.
I was about to say the LA regionals for A&W are recording right now, April 5th. So in
fact, literally right now,
as we're recording
at like 9:00 at night.
Yeah, they are. So that would have been a scheduling conflict if they had to come off in the beginning.
And considering that David had already confirmed for this one, he was willing to get on a plane and immediately go to Vietnam afterwards. And because he's in the walk-on line now, so he's literally going to get on the airplane and fly over to Vietnam right after this.
Considering he's not even guaranteed to get to A&W, like I choose the guarantee.
Yeah.
Every time.
Brian Kretsch is also on that.
Oh, that's right.
He's going to be in the he's in the LA as well, although he has a guarantee.
Yes. That's bizarre.
So, I think from this point, Atlanta has taped.
Yes, it has.
LA is going on now.
Right now. And then we got the other 3 regionals after that. We discussed the whole thing in the previous episode. Nothing outstanding has changed with that.
No.
The only thing that's changed is that LA was announced to be taking place at Universal Studios Hollywood.
And the date changed.
Yes, the date did change. That was the only one that was a to be determined, so
yeah.
And the reason is because it changed to Universal Studios. So there you go. So just like last year, expect some segment where they'll send the competitors to the theme park and they talk about how great Universal Studios is and all of that.
And am I incorrect in believing that this is also the only one recording on a weekday?
No, because I know off the top of my head that Philadelphia is recording the Thursday and Friday before Memorial Day weekend. So, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And since we have a quick aside to A&W, just to let people know, hey Arsenette, you remember Rousselis Perry, right?
Yes, Blackie Chan.
Yeah, that is his nickname that he self-appointed, in case anyone's wondering.
Yes.
So I follow him on Facebook, and he announced that he will be competing in American Ninja Warrior 8. This is
an absence of how many years?
The last time he competed was A&W 2. So, that was before regionals were even a thing.
A&W 2.
Yeah, that was when it was
Sasuke 24.
Ooh, 6.
A&W 3 was Sasuke 27.
Yeah.
So 25.
Was it 25 or 26?
26 was almost a year.
No, because 20. Wait.
Yeah, there's a separation. It was the 23, 24, and 25 were all within 6 months of each other, and then 26 was almost a year later.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the Sasukepedia. It was Sasuke 26.
Okay, what year? Was that 2011 or 10?
10.
10. 6 years. It's been 6 years since Rousselis has competed.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I hope he's ready, because it's changed a lot since then.
Lots and lots and lots of things have changed.
Yeah. So I expect freaking sharks with freaking lasers. Well, we saw some. Okay, we weren't going to talk about this, but whatever. We're already here. So I saw some of the photos from the Atlanta qualifier, and I remember last month when I said that I want them to make just the stupidest obstacles. So the first
stupid as in good, as in outrageous, not stupid as in bad.
Yes. I mean stupid in like the most positive way possible. So I'm getting that because the first obstacle are pinball flippers. And
that was hilarious.
That is exactly the type of dumb I want.
I made a joke on that, and there were a few people that actually took me seriously, and I had to facepalm. My joke was secretly on the side. Somebody is actually controlling the flippers manually, and people thought I was real. I'm like, how can? Oh, this is not gonna be fun. It's not fair if the things move. I'm like, oh, they don't move. Oh God.
We'll talk about it.
Could you imagine?
Well, my joke.
If that happened.
Oh yeah. Well, my joke about that obstacle is that they better call it the Pinball Wizard. Yeah.
We'll see. We've gotten pretty good with naming some of these things.
Yeah. So if all the new obstacles are of that caliber, that the course will be aces in my book.
Yeah, we'll put a picture of that on the show notes.
Yes, we will. Hopefully.
I'll do it on the.
We'll see if I remember
on the website. I'll remember when I put it on the website, so that's fine.
Anyway.
So.
Yeah. So anyway.
The rest of the but going back to the list, we have
I thought we were done.
Good. Yeah, no, going back to the list, half of these were either in X Warrior. The Sasuke China, for those who remember the renaming of that. Yeah. And some of them were in the ASEAN Cup.
Oh, okay.
So, like, a lot of the Taiwanese team, most of them were at the ASEAN Cup.
Oh, okay.
So that's basically the old Team Taiwan. So I'm actually looking forward to that. So, Tomo is already there. Tomohiro Kawaguchi. Inui had posted a few photos of the now he himself did not build the course this year. Last year he stayed for almost 3 weeks, like 2.5 weeks, to teach them how to build the stuff themselves,
right, and
how to rebuild after a tornado. And so which I find hilarious because there was a tornado.
Oh yeah,
it just didn't happen while he was there.
Oh.
I'll put a link to that video as well. Somebody actually recorded. They were on the set. It happened in broad daylight. And they were, I would call those dust devils turned into a tornado. Because at first it looked like a dust devil. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's moving. And then it started to pick up a whole lot more debris. And then I'm like, it's a tornado. And it was, again, just like he said last year. Only difference was that was a covered night in the middle of a rainstorm. The tornado was going right for the set, and you can see the set. It's already built at this point. And then all of a sudden, whoop, it breaks apart and goes right back on there. Like, it didn't want anything to do with the course again. So the course was untouched again. Although this time it didn't knock out any of like the announcer booths and whatever. So Inui is there this year just to make sure that the instruction that he gave last year was done. So again, he was there to teach them how to do it themselves. So, and then from future episodes, he doesn't have to spend so much time over there. And so far it worked. So, so far I haven't, the only complaint that I heard was, the hotel where he's staying is a little bit further out. So, he couldn't find where the pool was, and yay, it was indoors and cold. So, all right, he's drinking beer. That's Inui. You have to kind of know him to understand that joke. But yeah, but it's interesting. I know people have been asking me whether or not any of these people are going to be in Sasuke 32, and to my knowledge, the answer is no, because this is not working the same way. The international thing was set up because they wanted something similar last year, but they did not have enough time to put this together. So this time around, they did it, and all the people that are there are not direct invites. They applied just like everybody else, and right. They were accepted. They have to pay their own way through. So I believe that they have some invite guests that are I'm not sure how they're doing that. The rumor that I heard, and I have to confirm that, and I'll explain that for next month once I finally get to confirm everything, was that they were going to have, like, each day they will have, you know, one of the guests sort of, like, do, like, a quick, I guess similar to how Rio did it last year, where, you know, here's the first stage, and, you know, the inaugural first run is going to be, you know, Matachi Rio from Japan, blah, 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 and then he runs through, and everybody's like, oh, and then the competition starts. And I believe that's how they're going to be doing it this year, because I think it's 5 days of just the first stage. So as each day passes, I believe they were supposed to have a new guest for each one, or it could be the Tomo's doing them all. I don't know. The only guest that I know is Tomo, but I may be incorrect at that. We'll find out when I start seeing the photos, and by that point, the podcast will be out, so I'll explain next month.
Yay.
So I'm looking forward to it. The course already looks pretty.
Yeah.
It was last year. Again, we haven't seen a full one, as opposed to like last year where, you know, we knew he was in full control, so you were able to see like absolutely everything. We haven't seen the full course yet. And so this course I expect is going to be different, because some of the complaints that people had last year is that people didn't like the split first stage. I didn't mind the split stages because, again, it's unique.
I didn't understand it, to be honest.
Oh, neither did I. And
Yeah.
you know, and
if it was explained better, maybe I would have liked it better, but it just seemed kind of weird and like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that there were parameters on who was doing that. I can't fault them for the fact that they have all of the episodes on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't understand a single word of Vietnamese.
No.
So it wasn't anything that I can even derive from it. And even if they wrote it, it wouldn't have made any sense to me anyway. And nothing that I saw made sense to me. But the actual split stage itself, I didn't freak out over. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, I still have Sasuke. You know what I mean? It's like, and you know, it's just that's just what they wanted. Because even Indonesia had their own completely different look. That had to be a bit scaled down because the caliber athlete is not as high. So they didn't want people basically getting wiped on the second or third obstacle. So they made everything a bit more scaled down.
Wait, did you say Indonesia?
Yes.
Are you sure you don't mean to say Sasuke Ninja Warrior Indonesia?
Sasuke Indonesia Ninja Warrior. Stop! You gotta do a hashtag every single time we say it.
No, I'm not. No, that just takes it too far.
That one hashtag, right?
Yeah.
But anyway. By the way, there are actually, which I forgot to put in the show notes, Germany's coming up apparently.
Oh.
There have been, I haven't been following it or anything like that.
I know nothing about that.
Because there are so many of them at this point. So I am picking to follow more the ones that are directly TBS tied. And we've gone in extreme detail on how they're all different groups. You have the ones that are run by ATS, the ones that are run by Ecoline, the ones that are run by TBS. ATS, TBS, and Ecoline. So those are the three. They're all still under the auspices of TBS, but the build crew is vastly different.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that works.
Well, that's what happens. You know, a country decides what it is that they want, and when they buy the license, they have full control of what the look of it is. So, like, it's something simple like Turkey. Turkey wanted a very specific thing. So, between obstacles to begin with and the fact that they wanted everybody to clear, so they had them run for 3 days in a row until they got people to clear. And run them over and 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 over again, even if they were injured. Yeah, that was Turkey.
Okay.
Which is the reason why you don't see a season 2. And there will never be a season 2.
That's a shame.
So Sweden has finished their season 2, right? UK is now going on season 3, correct?
Yeah, they did 2 seasons. I think they're getting ready to do
Yeah, they're going
2.
into season 3. No, they already
Yeah.
did season 2.
Oh, they already did it?
Yeah, I believe they did season 2.
Oh, I missed it then.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I think they did them like almost back to back. So
Oh,
yeah.
well, that's
I'm sure
was a lot.
somebody in the comment section will fix that for us.
Yeah. Whatever.
So either way, yeah. And then speaking of competition and what we might have missed or remembered and whatever.
All right, let's put this show to rest. It is time to talk about the grand finale of Team Ninja Warrior. And we're not going to talk about this for like 45 minutes like we have in the past.
No, well, partly is because it's already been a month since that aired, at least in my brain.
Well, the final episode aired the week after the last podcast, so it's been a while.
Yeah. And I like the show a lot. Especially in the last couple episodes, the furor over the rules.
Let's go over each episode and then we'll give some.
Yeah, you're gonna have to remind me because I am literally going by memory. In fact, when I looked at the list of what we were gonna be discussing, I'm like, did we talk about that? And you're like, no. I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be a problem.
All right. So, anyway, let's give a rundown. So, last 2 episodes is where the top 8 competitors, consisting of the 4 previous winners and 2 wildcards, competed against each other in one super final tournament. They were split up into 2 episodes. Each episode ran like a normal episode of Team Ninja Warrior, but at the end of the second episode, the team that won the first episode ran a final championship relay against the team that won the second episode, and whoever won that relay was the grand champion of the entire season of Team Ninja Warrior, and they got a trophy and cheers. And I actually have no idea if there was any actual prize involved in this because I don't think they ever said. But
I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to ask the winning team if they got something. So, on the first episode, we had Team Midoriyama, Team Roden, Team TNT, and the wildcard team of the Stratisfaction. Mm-hmm. And on the second half of the finals, we had the Expendables, we had the Lab Rats, we had Party Time, and we had the wildcard team of Storm Team Maraski going up against each other. Mm-hmm. So, first episode of the finals. If you are someone who feels that the format of the show is not fair, this show gave you all the this episode specifically gave you all the ammunition you could ever need to proving your point.
Oh yeah,
because
that was actually
because this is what happened. So in the first round, that doesn't matter. Team Midoriyama beat Stratisfaction in a clean sweep, and Team Ronin beat Team TNT in a clean sweep, which featured a very close race between Travis Rosen and Flip Rodriguez, where Flip won by less than a second.
A hair.
From come from behind victory. That was actually super shocked he came back from that, to be honest. I thought Travis had it locked up. So then in the second half, Team Ronin goes up against Stratisfaction. The first 2 heats go to Ronin. And so at this point, they won 5 in a row.
Yep.
And then in the 6th heat is Team Captain Ryan Stratus going up against Team Ronin's JJ Woods. And Ryan Stratus wins, forcing the tiebreaker.
Barely.
And so then for the tiebreaker, it came down between Ryan and Flip. And somehow Ryan was able to pull it out and was able to beat Flip in the tiebreaker race and send his team to the finals of that episode. So even though Team Ronin for that episode had a record of 5 wins and 2 losses, and Team Stratisfaction had a record of 2 wins and 5 losses, Team Stratisfaction went to the finals relay.
Yeah.
Now... Yeah.
I'm already biased because I'm very much a Stratisfaction fan, so I say that right off the bat. But as I knock my microphone over,
Jeez
I'm
Louise.
so sorry. I'm sorry. I don't feel good.
Anyway,
so just off the bat, I'm very much a Stratisfaction fangirl.
yeah.
I even had to admit.
It's when it happened, I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah. See, the thing about it is that had already happened in the past in terms of how the first, and because people have been telling us like, well, just think of it that the first one is seeding.
Well,
the
also
entire competition
I know.
was done in 2 days.
3, but yes.
3.
Yes.
My apologies. 3 days. So time was irrelevant at this point. So what, you got 15-minute wait? Because that's really about how quick all these things were going. They were go. So the idea of it seeding is irrelevant when you only have maybe 20 minutes to rest. It makes no other sense otherwise.
We should also mention that in the second half of the knockout round, Team TNT beat Team Midoriyama, making it the only episode where the 2 teams that lost in the first round moved on to the relay race in the second round, by winning the second round. Only episode that this happened, and it just, everything about it just kind of just blew, it blew the format wide open.
And also blew the forums wide open, because I was, again, when isn't a time when I'm not feeling well? I wasn't feeling well, so I was actually behind by 2 full episodes. And if I'm not mistaken, the last time I was talking to you, I was already behind, so I had just got caught up to the episodes that we had just covered, and then got sick again, and then ended up having to go behind on that, and then I finally got to see all of it, and I saw the forums first. And it was just an explosion, because I also read a little bit of Reddit, which that community is not as large yet. But that was the only time where overnight I saw, 1 or 2 posts and then 30.
Yeah.
I'm like, uh-oh. And I went to check it, and they're like, oh. And then there's just bleepity bleep, 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 and bleepity bleep, specifically for Flip's run. That's where everybody's like, that's just wrong. Like, so I can't say just for Flip, but this happened throughout the entire show. So exactly how you said, if you had any problems with that, now do you understand why people hate this?
Oh no.
So
I
if
totally
this show comes
too,
back next year, if this show comes back, they do have to change it.
Yeah, they got to figure something out. But yeah, this is I guess for the most part, for most of the series, this was not an issue, because typically the teams that won the first round also won the second round. There was a few instances where that was not the case, but for the most part, it didn't make a difference. But this was the one episode where that just, everything that could go wrong did, in terms of, saying, oh, it's not so bad. Oh, well, actually it can be. Worst case.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and then, of course, so that set up the final.
Yes, Team Stratisfaction versus Team TNT. Unfortunately for Stratisfaction, they just weren't fast enough.
Yeah.
And Team TNT, Travis Rosen, Adam Arnold, and Joyce Shabbatz, despite being the oldest team on the show, made it to the grand finals.
Yeah, I was so happy for Travis.
So, meanwhile, the second half of the episode, second half of the finals, which, now that I think about it. So in this episode, we had Expendables. Mm-hmm. There's a few things that Team Ninja Warrior did that also carries over to A&W that annoys me. So here's this one's a bit more general, because you might be thinking of the other thing.
Oh no, we have already exhausted that, so this is new to me.
Okay, so I hate it when they do this, but they like to pretend like the competitors had time to train in between qualifiers and finals. Like they do this on A&W too, but they act like the show is happening in real time, where it's actually a week in between each segment of the competition. But in A&W, it's even dumber because they're making it seem like they do all the qualifiers around the country first, then they travel back to the first regional and they do all the finals. And it's like, dude.
They did that in USA versus World. In 2015, this happened. It's like, dude, 24 hours ago, we were here.
It's like, look.
Not even a day has elapsed. This is also why Jeff was totally screwed up. This is why. It's like, yes. This is a problem.
Not to mention, the entire concept that this show supposedly takes place in real time completely blows out the window with the fact that they have commercials advertising future episodes before the series even starts. Like, how? Like, what? Are your do your commercials have future vision or something? It doesn't make sense.
Even the issue of they had time to train between, we wouldn't be having a conversation about whether or not they had enough rest if they actually had time to go home.
Yeah. Okay. Like here's the thing.
So they could have cut all that out and then just saved everybody the trouble.
They only have. I don't even get it, because when other shows do this, they don't act like let's just say for Survivor, for example. Everyone knows that takes exactly 39 days for that show to shoot. They don't act like there was a week in between each episode. Whenever they talk about the previous episode, it's like on last week's episode you saw this. Like that's all they have to do for A&W and Teenage Warrior. You just have to say last week in last week's episode you saw this. They don't have to act like the show happens in real time, because it doesn't. And most people who are familiar with the shows know that it isn't. It's just silly.
So again, wasted effort, wasted time when you could have done something else. Because it's just, But
I mean, you could still have interviews with them saying how they're excited to be in the finals. Just don't act like they're switching up their training for the final round when it's like, what did they do? Did they go to the local gym at their hotel and like work on their cardio or something for 5 hours?
Now I have to admit, and I think I already said it before, that because we weren't going to do a full in-depth thing, I watched this on mute.
Oh yeah.
And then once I got towards the finals, and again, I like the show, but it still has elements. It's still the same producer, so you're still gonna have those elements in there. I fast forward those.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I fast forward those. So I just went in there because I watch it recorded, because that's the only way I can watch it anyway. I don't have cable. It's just as simple as that. Yeah. And so I just went and click and moved it and click. Okay, they stopped talking. Ooh, okay, that was so. For what I saw, the competition itself, the competitors, it was fun. It was, but I had my eyebrow raised with some of the things. I'm like, okay, that's just the format, and complaining about something that's not going to change at this point, I can't complain it. Yeah. So in which case, everybody has already done it, and they'll be stupid not to. But then again, watching some of the stuff that's going on with A&W 8, they probably haven't learned their lesson. So yeah, so expect this team, the format, if it comes back, probably to be identical. I have no hope that they're actually going to fix this. So
we'll have to see. So in the second half, so actually I should probably mention that the spin cycle was the fifth obstacle in the course this time, which that's of all the obstacles that they've used, that is probably the hardest one. So it makes sense to have that in the finals. In the second final round, you had. In the rounds that don't matter, you had the Lab Rats defeat Storm Team Muraski, and you had Party Time defeat the Expendables. And then in the rounds that did matter, you had Party Time defeat Storm Team Muraski, and the Lab Rats defeat the Expendables. And you got to see Lucy versus Michelle Wonky.
Yep.
Which that must have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel really sorry for Rob Muraski, because he fell on those dancing stones so many times. Not just in this episode.
Hard on that one.
Yeah, Yeah, and the thing is, he fell in the first episode too on that obstacle at least once and fell hard. He kept falling hard on those obstacles. He could not figure those stones out, and I felt really bad for him by the end of the episode. I'm just like, dude, he's got to be hurting by now.
I think in general, it also, and just as a general format thing, not necessarily of, oh, this sucks or anything. This is the first time they have ever felt the sense of urgency. And so that's where a lot of the excitement came in, because when you have a visual representation of somebody blowing your doors off, you're going to do things that you normally don't do. Yeah. So if you have in your head, okay, so long as I have an even pace, I just get through the obstacles, as opposed to, oh my god, this guy is just going to blow past me, and if I don't get past this, it's like your brain will just do it. In my opinion, that is the separation between a veteran and a rookie. Because this is how Travis Rosen got through so many of those, where those split-second decisions where I'm going to rest this second so I can make it up this wall at this time so I can be up at the end, as opposed to, oh my god. There was never a point where I saw in his head he was nervous. Yeah. He was, because everybody is, but there's you can tell the veterans when you see them, and that was a point where I was under going, yes, Sasuke veteran. Everybody's like, you saw it, like that's a veteran, and so it was an interesting thing, and I even said that the last time when we were talking about Brent and Casey. Where Casey's like, oh, this is a lot harder, and I'm thinking, it's like, yeah, when you have a timer. Yeah.
At least Brent's been at Sasuke, so he knows that.
True. Yeah. But it's again, I think I have used the example of playing video games, and you're doing a time trial, and you have the ghost next to you going, oh crap, I'm running slower than I was the last time around, let me speed up. That's the visual representation, and it's somebody else next to you. So but and so the final was
so the relay for that episode came down between Party Time and the Lab Rats, and Brian Arnold is just due to his rock climbing background, he was so good at the final leg portion of the race that Chris Wilczewski just couldn't catch up to him. He tried, but Brian Arnold won, and so the championship relay came down between Party Time and TNT. And before we talk about that, there is one other announcing thing that I just want to bring up quickly, because I don't want to harp on it too much. So, at one of the instances where Lucy was running, Matt Eisman says on commentary, and you missed it because you had a mute, he said that Lucy first competed in A&W 2. Now,
no, I heard that one because I listened to Lucy's run.
now, okay. So, here's the thing. I get that you don't want to talk about the American Ninja Challenge. I get that. I don't agree with it, but I get that. But there is video proof that she, on your own show, that she competed in A&W 1. And okay, sure, that was the only one that was produced by G4, but what? I don't.
Yeah. I said, I just as soon as I saw
did no one
Lucy
compete in AW1? It's so bizarre.
No, it just as soon as I saw the Casey Lucy matchup,
but
I knew it was over. It's just like, oh, the complete rewriting of history. It's like I give up. I give up.
But it's like I don't even get it, because it's it's their own show. It's just so bizarre. I don't understand it. And it's like,
I understand it. It's called politics.
Yeah, it's even, but it's.
You haven't worked for NBC, so you don't.
But even I don't understand.
This is normal. No, this is totally normal, because they are. It kind of reminds me of, okay, I spend a lot more time with cats. Dogs do this more than cats, where they mark their territory.
Yeah, I know.
This is what it's like. They're marking territory. That wasn't mine, so that's not mine. Yeah, no. It doesn't exist. The world did not exist. No. The world did not exist before NBC. It's just as simple as that. The world did not exist before NBC.
So by that logic, no one competed in A&W 1?
Yes.
Does A&W 1 just not exist? Is it like Street Fighter where no one talks about Street Fighter 1, everyone talks about Street Fighter 2?
Well, have you seen them talk about A&W 1?
No.
Right.
Well, I mean,
you answered your own question.
I mean, to be fair, A&W 1 is so low budget and dinky looking compared to, what it looks like now. Would you talk about A&W 1 with footage?
Who were the announcers?
There was one announcer. It was what's his name from X-Play?
Yep.
The beat Blair Herter.
Yep.
He was the
announcer.
announcer.
Answered your question.
Okay.
Who are the ones that they're paying multi-million dollars to?
Are Matt Eisman and Akbar Bajamil making that much money?
Oh, probably. That's usually how that works.
Oh.
For that amount of time? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We'll see. Well, okay. Between all they do a lot of other things. I would assume they're probably at least in the six figures.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at six figures. I would be surprised. If anything, Matt's more likely to be getting seven figures just because he was actually started at A&W 2 when Akbar started. Mm-hmm.
For the record, I don't know. I'm going by assumption with previous shows and previous hosts, especially when you're talking about something like American Idol. How much was Ryan Seacrest? 8?
Yeah.
No, 3 million?
Yeah,
3-4 million?
A lot of million. That show was also a lot bigger in its prime, so...
True. But the idea being that it's not out of the realm of possibility. Okay, so let's just say I would be surprised if it wasn't six figures. Let's say that.
Yeah, no,
especially
I can
for the
figures,
physical amount of time. That takes his entire summer.
Yeah, that's
From
a lot of stuff.
this point on, he has no other work. Oh, wait, I take that back. He's still doing the Apprentice?
Yeah, that's I'm not familiar with how that show's going, but he did do that.
Yeah.
And he has to show. He already did it. He has to. I think they might have taped everything, but he still has to show up for the finale because they do that live. So.
Well, yeah, but that's at least one night. So.
Yeah, I know.
So, but it's still that's a lot to ask as opposed to, like, for example, he has to be out in the open field with Akbar and who's the sideline? Same as last year, right?
Christy Leahy is returning.
Yeah, same as last year. Okay. Yay, consistency. We actually have consistency because that's been a revolving door every year.
I personally would have preferred if they got someone else, but that's just me.
I'm being facetious.
You were more receptive to Christy than I am for some reason. I don't know.
Her eyebrows actually moved. She wasn't Botox lady.
There's more to an interviewer than eyebrows, okay?
When I'm comparing the other ones from before, look, it's not Allison Hayslip, so I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah, I know.
Personally, I think Allison Hayslip would be a better host, period. So sideline reporter will be a down step for her, so at this point.
Hey, at least I'll probably get to watch Allison at BattleBot Season 2 this year, so.
Yay! So anyway, finishing up Team Ninja Warrior.
The final relay became down between Party Time and TNT, and unfortunately, it wasn't like a super close race because Jennifer Tavernier is a lot faster than Joy Shabbat's was in the first part, and it was all Party Time the entire time. And
party time all the time.
Yes. I didn't even mean to do that. But Brian Arnold had a convincing win over Travis Rosen at the end, especially because, unfortunately for Travis, he had a rough landing at the end of the tilting tables where he fell off the side of the platform. And there's a moment where you can tell he thought he was out, which, to be fair, I also thought he was out. But clearly some staff member told him, no, keep going, you're still in. And so he tried to catch up. He was unable to catch up. So Brian Arnold won. Party Time are the new champions. Unfortunately, that landing caused Travis Rosen to break his wrist.
Yes. The fact that it's wonderful adrenaline will do. He knew something was wrong as soon as he landed. But the adrenaline was still going, and it wasn't until later going, yeah, I did break this. I'm like, Travis, you broke it!
Yeah. Well, the good news is...
Of course, he couldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
He couldn't talk about it for I don't even know how many months.
Well, the good news is we saw him at the National Ninja League, and he did well there.
Yeah, in fact, that was the whole point of not being... And he didn't even... I don't ask these types of questions. I know they're under NDA, and quite frankly, I'm okay with waiting. And sure, if somebody wants to give me spoilers, I'll listen to spoilers, but I'm not going to outright ask. If they haven't volunteered it, I ain't asking. It's just as simple as that. So he's just like, yeah, I recorded the wrist and whatever, and then... So he asked me, have you seen everything? This is while I'm seeing up to the current episodes and whatever. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like... You did that, did you? He goes, yeah. I'm not going to tell you where or how. I'm like, oh, that's what happened. He goes, yeah. And then when I saw it, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's where you broke it. So the National Ninja League, he was there to test in competition how his wrist is going to hold up after surgery.
Right.
So he didn't have any particular aspirations. It was more like, okay, will it hurt when I compete? And the answer is no. It didn't hurt. So he would have liked to have gone better. And still second stage, especially in that course, was actually not bad. And more importantly, he was still fine. In fact, that was the nice thing where you were able to test out all the obstacles after the event completed, so he can go out and test all of the things that he couldn't touch, and he was fine. So I'm happy about that. So I believe he's already competed in Atlanta.
Let's say yes.
Yeah, I think he already completed in Atlanta. So good luck, Travis. And, we'll find out I think they start in June.
June
1st. Yeah.
June 1st. Actually, yeah, that's a thing that's worth mentioning is that A&W is going to be on Wednesdays this year, not Mondays. So keep that in mind, everyone.
And they're the lead-in, so I think they're keeping the 8 o'clock.
Yes, I believe
They do better 8 o'clock.
Yes, they do.
Who are they up against?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have to double-check. Because I know they did it on purpose to get away from Bachelor, because Bachelorette was killing them in the ratings.
Yeah, I don't know why people watch that show personally.
I don't know why people watch network TV anyway, so it really doesn't matter. It's all the same to me.
Anyway, so that's Team Ninja Warrior. Overall, I think it's safe to say we both liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. With some tweaking, which I am not... Yeah. I don't believe is going to happen. I believe it could be a fantastic show as a separate thing. Yeah. I do not agree with those that believe that this should be the replacement for A&W.
Nah.
A&W and the fact that people would think that A&W would change, that's another argument. You're not gonna I wanted to change, but is it going to? No.
No. I will say this about Team Ninja Warrior. You know how... Okay, you don't know this. So, in A&W, they like to say how A&W is a sport. Whenever they're talking about a person, they're talking about, this is a veteran in our sport. They're a great competitor in our sport. When people do interviews, they say, this is a sport.
Yeah.
Team Ninja Warrior feels more like a sport than A&W ever did.
Yeah. I wish people would stop saying that.
Yeah. That's an entirely different discussion, but
we can have it. In fact, you can write that out for next month. I'll have a long diatribe on why you don't call it a sport.
I will not do that. So, because I'm going to be completely honest. I don't care that much.
That's one of the rare things that I actually feel passionate about.
I'm just saying. For a company that likes to talk about how much A&W is a sport, Team Ninja Warrior feels way more like a sport than the main show does.
I do agree.
So
I agree with that.
Take that for how you will. And
I agree with
but other than that, I really liked it. Obviously there's tweaks, and hopefully they fix things next season, assuming there is a next season. But in conclusion, congratulations to Brian Arnold, Jake Murray, and Jennifer Tavernier for being the first ever Team Ninja Warrior champions.
Yes, and being nice ones too.
Yay!
That's one thing that I liked in general about Team Ninja Warrior, and I would say in general, some of the rookier ones, you can tell that they were a little like a fish out of water type things. But that was such a friendly competition. It's nice seeing a friendly competition. I mean, you have the, hey, I'm better, but it wasn't, that wasn't the focus. And I think because money was removed from it, if they were paid, it was a small amount. It wasn't it wasn't the, hey, you're going to win $1 million or $500,000. Money was not the first byline of watching this show. It was, you get to see the competitors that you know and love compete against each other. How fun is this? And the answer is, it is fun. So I would like to see a new season with the tweaks.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe even a longer season with more teams. And maybe
not sure. No, the only reason why I'm saying I'm not sure is because, and I do have to bring this up again, A&W just posted today a preview teaser. It's not a teaser. It's almost 1.5 minutes long. Trailer to the A&W season. And the tagline is basically, see all the new people. And given to what just happened to David Campbell, I think they're purging. Because again, and everybody has to remember, just last year they received 50,000 applications. It is not as if that they're missing. they're hurting for people. There's a revolving door of people that they can pick from. And my honest opinion is that they're purging, especially now that Isaac's not coming back. So
okay. So hey, big news, guys. Isaac's not coming back. That's a story we're not getting into.
No. If you want to hear it, go to the forums. There's at least 10 pages on it.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting tack that they're doing, and I'm even ignoring the fact that Jeff wasn't even shown for a second in the trailer.
Well,
that's his own. That's still the remainder of what happened last year. But just the tact of see new people and see the surprises of the new people, and given already what I've seen. The positive is that there's a whole bunch of SMF competitors, members that have finally been given the chance to compete. So they're totally happy about that. So I believe this is the first year where we have more of our members actually competing in the same tournament, I should say.
Hey, good for them.
But the problem is a lot of the vets are not coming back, or correction, are not being called back. Yeah. So, not entirely. It's not going to be a complete purge, but I think they're probably going maybe with most recent results. I mean, because there'll be a bigger uproar if all of a sudden they start cutting people that were, in Vegas, third stage, that sort of thing. Like, could you imagine if they didn't bring back Drew? You know what I mean?
Well, based on my YouTube analytics, if they cut Joe Morosky, they would lose a large amount of viewership, apparently.
Exactly. So, so I'm curious from that aspect alone. Again, I ain't watching this season. I feel bad for the competitors, especially those long-time competitors that for one reason or another, I mean, they made A&W.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
Something that I have to keep reminding people, NBC has never been a network about loyalty. In anything that they have ever done, news, sports, variety, anything, they are not loyal at all. So they've already created a show. The entire show is Matt Eisman plus whoever's there, because this is the third person that's with him. Granted, he's lasted the longest, but it's Matt, the obstacles, and the money. That's all A&W is. And that is perfectly clear with what happened within the last year and the introduction of this year, that is their entire focus. And I feel sad. But again, I'm not gonna go completely nuts over it because I didn't expect any different. And, it's just, I didn't expect any different. I just feel bad for the competitors because they made that show and it's nothing to NBC. It's just sad when you see them come to that realization that they mean nothing. They're absolutely nothing. They're just fodder. So I feel bad for them. So that, from a human standpoint, it's crushing to see. So I feel bad and I get depressed when I think of it because as far as I'm concerned, Sasuke is about people. I can care less what the obstacles look like. So, that's just a sad part.
Speaking of people and obstacles, I inquired some people for some questions, and I think just as a nice little cap to this episode, let's answer a couple of questions. And when I say a couple, I mean literally a couple of questions.
No, that's fine.
I got two questions for you. They're actually similar to each other, so I'm actually going to ask you them in tandem. First up is from
Lusitania Angel.
Thank you, Lusitania Angel
Emily!
313. Look, sometimes usernames can be hard to read when it's a bunch of words put into one word.
I
Lusitania
break
Angel.
phonics for the win.
Yes.
Take it by syllable.
Yeah. So she asks, now that Sasuke 32 applications are open, who do you hope will be in the next tournament? And additionally, Sasuke Owl asks, which obstacle from the past would you want back for Sasuke 32? So, people and obstacles, what do you want to see return?
Ooh. People. I'm still holding out for Bunpei. Really holding out for Bunpei. Again, I'm a loyalist, so all of the I'm happy at least Nagano's training for it. I believe I have no confirmation. I am going by the information that was public last year and actually announced during the broadcast that Nagano wanted to stop. In fact, that he wanted to stop at 31 and they asked him to please come back one more time. If putting all that together, this could be Nagano's last tournament. So, yeah. And to say that I want to be there is the understatement of the year.
Well,
so
hopefully that will work out.
My hope is to see basically as many All-Stars back as possible. What happens after that, I don't know. I like seeing vets come back. I'm always tickled pink when I see a person from the past come back. One of my favorite pictures is actually oh my god, you have to help me because his name just totally erased from my head. Bruce Lee.
Oh, I don't know his name.
Oh, okay. That would be great. You're supposed to help
I know
me.
you're talking.
But yeah, the guy. It's like he's been since like what? Sasuke 2?
1. He was in 1.
He was in Sasuke 1.
He wasn't Bruce Lee in Sasuke 1. He was still in the self-defense force at the time.
Yeah.
But yes, he was in Sasuke 1, and that's actually the only time he beat Stage 1. So
interesting. I never really paid attention to that. I actually thought that he never did.
No,
because again, I'd never had a chance to see Sasuke 1. That may change soon, but we'll see. Even the G4 version, I didn't record it, so I'm gonna see if I can try to get a copy of that and see it again because I'm writing in the middle of all this. I'm trying to write my book. Good luck if I can get it done this year. But I like seeing some of the people from the past come back, which goes with the obstacles. Which one from the past? See, the problem, and we've had this discussion before, outside of the fact that I don't normally think of obstacles. When I think of obstacles that I want to see, I see them as a viewer. All of the competitors want to shoot me because all the ones that I want to see are like, freaking trapeze flying in the air and whatever, and the competitors are going, you want me to do what? Like spin bridge, that's exciting to me. Circle slider, that's exciting to me. Like they hate all these obstacles. They're like, if they
stop
could look
making
like
it hard on me.
Exactly. anyway, so like Superman, it's visually entertaining to watch, and so I think the older I get, the more I turn into Inui, because Inui has the same answer, although a bit more sinister, because he's totally into Schadenfreude. So he wants someone to fail comedically. That's all he wants, because he's into, similar like Takeshi's Castle. They're like, God, that was an awesome wipeout. Let's see that again. And it doesn't matter what the obstacle is. He goes, it doesn't matter if it's like a mundane obstacle. If someone failed, not horrifically, but funny, which would be basically all of Shingo's fails.
Okay. So I have a name for you.
Okay.
So this is not going to go well. The name of the Japanese Bruce Lee impersonator is Ijima Toshia. Toyoshia.
Ijima. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Freaking Sasukepedia does last name, first name. God damn it. Throwing me off like that. Yeah.
Toshima.
Yeah, Toshia Ijima. Yes, there you go. Actually makes
Ijima.
sense when you do it that way.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so there you go. That's his name.
I would teach you to read in phonics, but you didn't grow up that way. Take each syllable slowly. That's fine. You did actually fantastic with all of the Asian names. All of them.
I don't need your reinforcement.
You did good. You're doing better. In the beginning, I had to cringe.
Anyway.
Oh, come on. I get to tease you at least once. You do it all the time to me. Meh.
Hey, well, it's easier.
Oh, man. But,
anyway.
Yeah. But, yeah, obstacles. See, I'm holding out hope for something that will never happen. I still want the Viking, Viking ultimate plank. Yeah,
well.
But I know that's not going to happen. So, but you said what my hopes were. That's what I wanted.
The question wasn't what Viking obstacle you want to see. The question was what Sasuke obstacle you want to see return.
Oh yeah, okay. So I mixed the two. All right.
Yeah, don't cheat like that.
Back. Okay, so I'll do spin bridge and circle slider out of the most recent. I actually wouldn't mind having the tackle back. The tackle did very, very well.
Yeah.
And that was, what, Sasuke 5?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would suspect, and again, people keep forgetting, Inui was there for the first 14. In fact, he was mostly responsible for the obstacles of the first 14 tournaments. Mm-hmm. So the idea of like, well, does he need, because this was actually in the board, does he need the specs? No. He was part of the team that created it. It's in his head. That's why he was hired.
There you go. So, I have answers for questions.
The correct answers to the questions.
I have, my answers. Yeah.
No, you're correctly answering the questions because I put what on the who.
Yeah. Anyway. So, for who I would like to see return, to me, this is a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. It's the answer that I give every time because there is only one person I want to see return all the time. It's my boy, Kota Homa.
Oh, wow. I wonder if he's still actually...
according to this, the last time he competed was 24, so...
No, I'm wondering if he actually applies.
I don't know. Do you know how to contact him? I want to be like, hey.
I do not.
He has the record for youngest person to clear the first stage. Mm-hmm. And that was cool.
Yeah.
And it was in Sasuke 17. And I think because he was prominently featured in those first episodes of G4 Ninja Warrior when it was 14, 15, and 17, it just, made me more, it just made me a big fan of his. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, I want to see Kota Homa return all the time.
That'd be awesome.
Also, technically, he's not returning because he was just in the last season, but I always want Kenjiro Ishimaru to compete.
Yes.
Because I still believe he can get that record for oldest competitor to clear. He can do it. And every year, he could. The funny thing is, when you're competing for youngest competitor to clear, you only have so much time.
Yeah.
But when you're competing for oldest competitor to clear, you technically have infinity time.
Yeah. I tell you one thing though, with Ishimaru, it's. I wish I had a picture of him. I actually didn't get a chance because he was one of those that kind of snuck in, did it, and then snuck right back out again.
Yeah, every year I believe he can do it.
Well, what I was trying to say is, generally, I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but generally how it goes is after, like, at a renewal, they do their best to try to kind of ease up on the first stage so people can continue watching it and then crush everybody in the second stage.
That's fine.
But the first stage, if history continues, they will try to ease up on it to try to have a lot of clears.
I don't care how well he does in the second stage. I just want him to beat the first stage.
Yeah, well, that's why I said, it will be in his benefit because it will be quote unquote technically easier.
Yeah.
If it turns out that way, that's entirely,
Like this is like remember when Wacky first cleared the first stage for the very first time?
Yes, that was phenomenal.
That was awesome. He was so happy. He immediately failed the second stage, but I didn't care because he cleared the first stage.
Exactly.
It was amazing.
That was awesome.
I was so happy. Yeah.
I was so happy for him because he's sitting there just about crying.
Yeah, he was happy.
Yeah.
And all right, so for what obstacles I want to return, well, okay, so I may be the only person who likes this obstacle, but for stage 1, I want to see for stage 1, I want to see the reverse fly because it's a giant trampoline that
Takeda will not like you,
on.
but yeah,
I don't care.
He was the only one that actually did that.
Yeah, and actually, I know one person failed the reverse fly in 16. I don't know if anyone else failed, but I don't care. It's a cool looking obstacle. They're throwing themselves at a giant trampoline, and that's the type of things that I like to see in obstacle courses. For
it's a
stage
stupid
2,
obstacle.
Exactly. Speaking of stupid obstacles, you know what I want to see return in stage 2? The hammer dodge. Because they're dodging giant hammers. That's awesome. Why they ever get rid of it, I don't know. Actually, you know what? I would prefer if they brought in the Kunoichi version of the hammer dodge.
I think
because the tempo of the hammers was different, and I don't care about any sort of like technical or safety reasons that you might tell me right now.
No, I think the only thing that it would be is moving parts, money, anything that has a motor.
You know what? Get some dudes with ropes and pulleys and have it do it manually.
No, because then it'll end up having the same problem that we had with my friend that ended up being screwed by something manual.
You know what? No. I got the idea. In the original American Gladiators, this is I'm not even kidding. There is an obstacle and one of the versions of the obstacle course where it's a series of like punching bags that are just rocking back and forth that you have to dodge while moving, while running down this large hallway. Yeah, those obstacles were operated by the gladiators pushing these levers back and forth.
Yeah, it worked like a pendulum.
Yeah, so it is very possible to do that manually.
Yeah,
it's very possible to do something like that manually. So, hey, Inui, you want to bring back the hammer dodge?
Send him a message. I keep telling people to say, like, literally engage with him.
You know what?
Because he answers all the majority of the questions in Japanese. He'll answer you in English. And please, for the love of God, do not use Google Translate. He will be very angry with you. He says, also, write it in your native language, even if it's not English. He will figure it out. And if he can't figure it out, he'll ask you to rephrase it so it works through a translator. So please, write in your native language.
Also, you kind of spoiled what stage 3 obstacle I want to bring back.
The body prop, yeah.
The body prop. Of course,
but at the same time,
fun.
you're as sadistic as I am. So.
But that obstacle's cool.
It's cool.
Different. And it's different from most of the stage 3 stuff.
Again, the reason why it won't come back because it's a technical thing.
I don't care.
Well, the technical thing is because he wants to make it fair for everybody. So if all of a sudden somebody's coming in at 6'1", they have to set it so the body is is the word taut?
Yeah, that's the word you're
Yay! Sometimes I invent words and trying to figure out which words I'm using. Yeah, so make sure that they are completely spread out because that's the whole point of being in the obstacle is your entire body extended. Not like, hey, let's just pivot and then just kind of shimmy across. No, they want the whole body straight open. So your core is the only thing that's holding you up. Well, it's a pain in the butt to keep adjusting it for everybody's height because everybody's height is different. So Akiyama's going over there, 5'2", and then all of a sudden followed by, somebody, like Paul Tarek that was 6'2". Yeah. That's a foot the difference he had to adjust to. It's too much of a pain, and it's more importantly for him, not necessarily the technical thing. He wants to make it fair for everybody as best as possible within reason. I mean, crap happens, and we've surely seen plenty of crap happening in during the Ryzen era that people are now attuned to look for these things. It's always happened. I just think that people are now looking into it more. It seems as if it's happening more now. It's just people have more information now than ever before. So
if you want an obstacle that's more quote unquote fair to people, but still want an obstacle that's interesting, why not just bring back the flying bar? Like, that was fun.
Yeah, and it's simple because you don't have any mechanics.
Yeah, so you bring that back too. So look.
I don't mind a body prop. Remember, I'm the one that brought it up to both Tomo and Morimoto, and they wanted to shoot me.
Yeah, well, tell them to get a gun because it's happening.
I love you.
Thank you. Look, like I said, I want the stupidest things possible in my obstacle courses, and I want them now.
Mic drop. Unsubscribe.
Okay,
archive. Sorry, Google joke.
So, there you go. That's who I want. Kotohoma, and I want some of the sillier obstacles to return because that's how I roll.
Yeah, I don't mind a lot of obstacles coming back. I know everybody just wants a clean sweep. I would prefer the clean sweep. It's just not happening. But we'll see. The whole point is I wanted the show to last as long as possible and hopefully get out of the rut that it's in, which is the reason why I was doing the Sadie Sasuke stuff to see if we can come up with any ingenious ways of trying to spread the word. Because again, still, if anything else, Rachel and June proved that they're in Japan. They don't even know that the show was still going.
Should work on that.
Exactly. So until that gets corrected, they will not get the visibility. If the visibility is not there, advertisers will not be interested. If advertisers are not interested, that means they don't get the money. Because this is how it's all paid. I mean, it's expensive to build. Yes, it's cheaper than, doing a show of, like a drama or something like that where you have to pay celebrities and stuff. But those obstacles ain't cheap. So, yeah.
All right, then. So, that's about it.
Yay!
We did it. We made it to the end. So, I just want to say, everyone, thank you for listening to this month's edition of the Final Stage Podcast. You can find us on iTunes, on Podbean, and on YouTube for all our latest episodes delivered straight to you. If you're on iTunes, feel free to give us a review on iTunes and a rating, preferably one that is of 5 stars.
I'll read it.
She will read it. And if you want, on YouTube, you can provide a tip monetarily to help pay for the hosting of the podcast. It is completely optional, and if you choose to, it is greatly appreciated. And if you want, you can find me on Twitter at 2d2will, on 2-2.com, and on 222productions.com. a reminder, you can just go check out a multitude of videos covering the National Ninja League in detail, the most amount of coverage that you could possibly want, because trust me, you wouldn't want the full 13 hours, because that's kind of boring. Check that out there. Also, the final William podcast will return. I took a month off for reasons.
Yes, I have plenty of reasons.
And I will be returning with a review of WrestleMania 32, as well as a review of NXT TakeOver Dallas. And starting the week after that, I will actually be covering some other shows, which I will reveal at the end of that episode. So check it out. Where can we find you, Arsenette? And what have you done recently?
Well, I'm finishing up the uploads of the Final Stage podcast on the brand new website, finalstagepodcast.com. Yay! And then you can follow me on Twitter and on Rambling Rican. Oh, Twitter and YouTube, both Arsenette, Arsenette, and on Rambling Rican, that's still there and still expanding. I'm still working on, in fact, I need to finish getting the videos for the National Ninja League up. I did a couple blogs on it. Again, most of that stuff is on you. So I wasn't planning to cover that much. I'm still working on trying to get more State of Sasuke, because that seems to be popular. And finally finishing off the videos of last year. Now that I have a new camera, hopefully between that and actually getting to Japan, if we can get this fundraiser up and running and finished in the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to use that to do a lot more coverage and stuff. So, upgraded equipment and see if I can use it. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me.
All right. So once again, thank you everyone for listening to the show, and we will see you next month for our special 1-year anniversary.
Yay! The legit one.
Yeah. We're going to rebrand, and we're only going to talk about the Spartan Warrior game show that's coming out. So look forward to that. Goodbye, everyone.
Take care.